What's up? State Champs here. Our new album, State Champs by State Champs, is out now. And we're going to give you a little track-by-track breakdown. Tell you a little bit about each song.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it. Track 1, The Constant. It's probably the first idea that we came up with out in the Joshua Tree Desert, right? Stemmed from a drum idea that you had.
Yeah, I wrote that drum beat probably a year and a half before we started writing it, and then I sent it over in a Dropbox.
Evan has a Dropbox full of drum ideas that he lets us pick from and write songs about, and that was just a standard example of one.
Yeah.
That had a couple different iterations though, because I remember I sent over some ideas that weren't the vibe, and then we revisited that drum beat because I was like, I want to use it. It's too good.
Yeah, and it became the album opener. It just sets the tone for the record, energy-wise, and it's great. Lyrically, we've seen some shit in this industry, and we won't name any names, but we've been a little bit screwed over in the past, and it was time to just vent about it, and that was our vent session.
Yeah, it's a very personal one as far as the band goes. I think that's something that we could all relate to, and, you know, like Derek said, the music industry isn't always kind, more often than not. So
I mean,
that was a middle finger to some
and therapeutic as well, like to let out some, you know, some steam to open the album. So that's
it's not a breakup. Well, it is a breakup song, but not the kind that you think it is.
We'll let you figure it out.
It's about getting rid of the toxicity in your life and them being the constant issue in your life.
Well said. Okay.
Look at me.
Track 2. Silver Cloud.
Silver Cloud?
Silver Cloud. Silver Cloud became the first single that we released, but we didn't write that one until the end of the writing process.
One of the last
ones.
Clueless was the last one.
Yeah, Silver Cloud was probably the second last.
And the crazy thing about Silver Cloud was it was like a mix-up of 3 different songs.
Yeah.
We had 3 really great songs, and we were all trying to fight for each one, and we were like, these could all work really well as one song.
Let's use the best pieces of each 3 of those songs and see if we can get them to work together.
Yeah.
That's what we call a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
When you take certain parts of other ideas, make them in Frankenstein them together to create one. That ended up being the first single of the album, so thank you. Lyrically, it's about breaking the original routine of daily life. Say you work a 9-to-5 job and you hate it, you'd want to listen to a song like Silver Cloud.
Yeah, somebody asked us earlier kind of what it was, if you were to give a piece of advice to a fan in the form of a song, which one of your songs would it be? And I think Derek and I said Silver Cloud because it's like, you know, your life can be what you want it to be. It doesn't have to look like it looks right now if you're not happy with it. And I think that's kind of what Silver Cloud is about, is just breaking that routine, making a name for yourself, doing something that you want to because you want to do it. And I think anybody can kind of relate to that. You know, you got to do some shit that you don't want to do in your life, but it doesn't have to be your whole life, you know? So.
Yeah, well said. All right. Track 3, Clueless.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to have to remember track lists as we go. Clueless was, in fact, the last song that we wrote for the record. We brought in our buddy Lil Aaron to help with the song, and he gave us some insight and said, have you written a very
fun song,
fun, quirky song for the Outcasts? And you know, it's something that we haven't normally done. We had to kind of like reach to a different side of us and tell a story. Because this one wasn't necessarily like a specific thing about something in my life or Ryan's life or anybody's. It was, let's tell a story about being an outcast.
I think we showed him like 2 or 3 songs from the record, and he was like, yo, these are great, but they're like they're emotional, they're serious. Like, let's do something that like is just fun, and let's just, whatever the first idea is, let's go with it.
And it's very specific. It like takes you to a place. It puts you inside of a story. It almost like sounds like a 2000s movie scene, right? So that was cool. And it was it's a loser anthem, if you will. It's one for the losers. Let's be real. It's about that loser guy that can't get a girl, and everyone's related to that in one way or another. So, AKA this guy.
You know, channeling some Fountains of Wayne, channeling some power pop vibes. I think this is our most power pop song.
Very American Pie, The New Guy, Stacy's Mom. If you're into any of that stuff, you'll like a song like this. So,
it's fun, easy to listen to.
Well, you didn't like it at first.
I didn't want to say that.
Moving on.
But I do love it now, especially playing it live. It's really, really fun, and I can see that being a crowd favorite very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, track 4. Track 4 is Light Blue.
Light Blue.
Light Blue was an early song in the process, right? Because we originally had 4 songs that were going to be on an EP. State Champs by State Champs was not going to be an album. It was going to be an EP. Light Blue was probably our favorite song of the original 4.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how it started. It's a loop that you made, right?
Yeah, it was just a guitar idea that, Anton, our producer, was asking, you guys have any like riff ideas? And I was just kind of going through a folder, and I remember playing the riff and being like, this probably isn't the vibe, but like I'm gonna show it anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember Anton being like, let's just start with that and see what happens.
Yeah.
Chorus of Light Blue had to be written 2 or 3 times. There's 2 different versions of it. One specific one that was way more like a pop country, and it was less slammy pop punk in your face for the chorus. So we had to kind of find a better dynamic from the more like groovy, poppy verse meets slam State Champs in your face chorus, and we found it at the end, which is now the Light Blue version that you know.
Yeah, lyrically, it's kind of, we channeled some Dan and Shay energy.
Yeah, totally. And similar to a Dan and Shay, like When I Taste Tequila, it's some specific thing that you do that takes you back to a certain moment. No one's ever done that, referring to a smell. And we were the first band in my eyes that has done that. I don't know. I'm sure there's other songs.
Definitely been done before.
Well, fact check. Please, someone fact check this.
We're actually the first.
No, we're the first ones.
We're here first as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about, for those who don't know, Light Blue is a perfume made by, or perfume in cologne. It's a scent made by Dolce & Gabbana. And
It's widely
Not
popular.
sponsored.
amongst
okay, my
sponsored, but
first
accepting
girlfriend in high
teenage-
school used to wear it, okay?
Yeah, teenage girls.
And maybe I still
Hey.
think about things when I smell it. Okay.
I wore it for the last
You did?
like recently,
for like
right?
8 years.
Yeah.
I wore it for
I've seen
a
it in
long time.
in bathrooms and stuff when we've been
Yeah.
in hotels. I've been like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So-
Takes
It
me
was
back.
my
Takes me
roommate's
back to homecoming,
that I
man.
stole.
So sponsorship?
You know what? For the artwork for Light Blue, I really wanted it to be like a perfume ad.
Oh my
I wanted
God.
to look like a bougie, like high-end ad. I wanted Derek shirtless on a horse.
We still can do it. We still should.
There's
do
still
it.
time.
There's
Yeah,
still time.
that might be coming soon.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. Track 5. Too late to say.
To say. I forgot.
First song we wrote for this batch.
I think one of them, yeah.
Yeah, one of the first songs. Heavily influenced and led by our fearless leader, producer, and co-writer Anton. It was in a bank of songs that he had. Well, like at least the beginning of the song was.
Yeah.
And then we formed a song around it. But the bass line and the very Blink-182 style octave thing was an idea that he had.
Yeah.
And we took that and ran with it. And it's one of my favorites. It's really fun to play live too. Very hard for you to play.
Yeah. I tried to channel my inner Travis Barker, and it's hard. That man is good.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the more vulnerable songs on the album as far as like lyric content. And it's about growing up and becoming an adult and being scared of it because that shit is scary and it's okay to talk about it sometimes. I never wanted to talk about that stuff, but it's nice to in songs now and be able to relate and vocalize it and be transparent with my guys about it.
Yeah, you're old.
Yeah. We're getting old, man.
I remember that session specifically being like a pretty therapeutic, like, couple days while we were writing the record because, I feel like, we collaborate on the lyrics, but sometimes I want to go deeper, and I felt like this was the first time that I felt like you were like willing to like let me push you to go deeper.
Yeah.
You were like waiting for the right time, and I felt like this was the song that kind of came out of that. And for me, that was the most exciting thing about writing this song was getting closer with Derek by just like letting him talk it out, and then
Yeah.
kind of putting it into words for the song. So
Yeah, essentially, and it says it in the chorus. It's like a feeling of being lost in where the heck you're going in life, or like where you should be. But it's more important to just be able to say that I feel weird about that, and then move on and figure out how you're gonna get out of it. So yeah, it was a good one. It's refreshing and rewarding.
Yes.
Nice.
6,
Sobering.
Sobering.
Sobering is a cool one. That one was with the help of our friend Curtis Peoples and
Thrash Man.
And Thrash, that's right.
Yeah.
It's a super cool song. It's very like Third Eye Blind, kind of Weezer-y influenced, isn't it?
Started with a riff that I was like, let's do something kind of 90s alternative. Third Eye Blind is always a starting point,
Yeah.
I guess, when I pick up a guitar. Is like, let me try to write something very Third Eye Blindy. So that riff started with as a Third Eye Blind rip off and just spiraled.
Yeah. Lyrically, it's pretty staple State Champs fuck you angsty, isn't it? It's you ever had someone that even if you're having such a good time, if you get a whiff of that one person, not a whiff because that's like blue, but if you even like if someone comes in and tries to ruin your vibe, it does ruin your vibe. So that's what sobering is about.
Yeah.
It's about toxicity. It's about removing someone from your life, and for the better, if you will.
That's
Absolutely.
that's a radio track right there. That's
Yeah.
an all-American
So-
Rejects-y kind of radio ethos song.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but even when that person, from your past 6 months ago, you broke up, they're still hitting your phone up and you're trying to have a good time, and they keep coming back. That's what it's about.
They hit you with the I miss yous, but you're like, yo, I'm vibing right now. No amount of beers could make me go back to there
Yeah, it's
because
not
the
it.
thought of you is sobering. Okay, moving on. Okay, track 6. Hell of it.
Track
Yes.
6 is hell of it. Yes.
This is probably where we reached a little bit outside of the box as far as the album
Yeah.
goes. I feel like it's the most different sounding one that takes influence from a different space, if you will. This one goes into the pop country space, I think,
Yeah.
a little bit. And I think it was a good thing for us to do. We listened to that stuff. We liked that stuff. But finding a balance and a dynamic to make that still a State Champ song was the task. And that was like, how heavy did the guitars get? How far do we reach down into like the trappy beat, like pop style verses? Or
Well, that's how it started. It was very pop because this was a song written with Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney Ballard.
And he had it very pop. And then when we got it to Anton, the producer, he was just like, let's try and make this a little bit more State Champ. So finding that balance of guitars and the pop and trying to make that work was difficult, but also really fun.
Yeah.
I remember when we got the initial demo, when we finished the demo and we were showing it to everybody, I remember having a conversation being like, let's not be afraid of like leaning into this kind of sound because we all love it and we all listen to it. We all listen to the pop country and we enjoy it. I mean, we like well-written songs.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like if it's a well-written song, I don't care what genre it is, as long as it like makes me feel something.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to it and be like, it does feel different and maybe a little bit scary as far as like State Champs goes, but like I don't think that we need to be afraid of it, one, and two, I don't think our fans will be like thrown off by it because there are little like hints of that, I think, in past songs that we've written and whatnot. So
Well, absolutely. We always try and have that one not weird song, but one very different departure.
I guess it's the wild card, but not really a wild card. It's the most ballady on the album, but it's not even a ballad song. So it's like, it's just right in the middle and sits in this cool, unique space. Lyrically, it's very free-spirited, youthful song about young love and a one-night stand, if you will. You can take that and run with it however you want, but it's a fun, refreshing young love song.
Also, the structure is interesting too. Like with it ending with the bridge.
Verse, chorus,
No
verse,
bridge.
chorus.
No bridge. Oh, no
outro.
bridge. That's right. That's
Like
right. Just an
three bridges.
outro.
I
Yeah.
just said time.
You don't always
tie
need
it.
a bridge. You don't
Yeah,
always
that's true.
need a bridge.
Sorry, I said bridge.
And
I
it's
meant-
not a cop-out.
I did see a comment today online that was like, I can't believe this wasn't a single. And then I think a few of the comments said, I think it's because it's too short.
Yeah, it's pretty
It
short.
is a short one, but it was
But-
super interesting.
But that's fine. It's got
Yes.
replay value. It makes you want to go back and hit it again.
Short songs are great.
But
2
I also,
minutes, I'm good.
I also thought that was interesting because that's not something we ever really do. Skipping the bridge is not something we do. And Tyler has an incredible guitar solo that's
Yeah.
fun to, and it's fun to play live.
Time for my solo. Okay, what's next?
So we
Tight grip.
Tight grip.
Okay, track what? 9? 8?
8.
Track 8.
Track 8.
Tight Grip. Tight Grip is a very, very pop punk staple anthem about fucking the system. If
Which we wrote high on marijuana.
Yeah, we did.
This
That's
is-
right.
this is the
Shout out
song.
to Rhythm.
Rhythm.
Shout out to our strain, Out of My
Yeah.
Head.
Yep.
If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, we were smoking
Yeah.
that
Sorry,
before it
Mom.
came out.
We were
We were
developing
jamming.
our
We were having
strain.
a jam
We were
session.
testing out our strain,
Developing.
and
Developing.
developing
We're
our
developing our
strain,
strain.
and this is the song that we were messing around with, and it's fun.
Yeah.
This one, I remember specifically being like, let's write a middle finger song to people that think they know what's best for you. Like,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
is,
You
like,
can't ever let anybody tell you how to navigate your own life. And it's okay to rebel against that. Tight Grip can be your anthem
Yes.
for that feeling.
specifically for people who like don't, you know, you take your words from like who they come from. I don't want to ever take advice from someone that I don't respect or I don't like know or care about. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
like, why would that person think that they know what is best for me? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a very similar vibe as Silver Cloud. You know, like your life is supposed to look like what you want it to look like, and don't let anybody else kind of tell you what it should look like. So that's a big fuck you to that person or those people or that organized religion.
Punk rock.
Just sneak that in there.
Sneak that in there. I like that you did that.
Okay, great job. Moving on. Next one. What's the next song?
I still want to.
Okay,
Which
track
is the
10.
9.
Track
Nine.
This is
Track
the
9.
first song that we wrote. For
Yes,
that.
it is.
Like forever ago.
It is.
too.
Like a long time
Yes.
ago.
We wrote it with
2
our
years
buddy Rajiv in Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
And yeah, it was
Before
great. I don't think it was
our last
easy.
record even came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Right.
filming Act Like That music video.
Yeah.
this
Yes.
weekend.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was brought back to life, if you will. And it makes so much sense on this record. It fits in cohesively with the rest of the album perfect, I think. And yeah, it's a great song. It's very like hip hoppy, wordy poppy, which is cool. It brings out like a modern, fresh side to us, I think. And I've from the comments so far, and from just friends hitting me up, like in other bands, everyone seems to like this chorus melody so much.
I love it.
You
It's
know?
one of my favorites on the record, to be honest.
It's just a different, fresh spin on State Champs, if you will.
I remember when we showed it to Anton, and he didn't like it until it hit like a certain note in the chorus, and he was like, wow, I was thinking the chorus was like a little bit whatever, until you got to that note. And
Yeah.
then he's like, okay, now I'm in. I'm hooked on this.
Yep, and then they want to hear it again and again,
Yeah.
and it keeps coming back, and that's the whole point. Duh. Yeah, it's great. It's about, what is the song about? It's about not being able to get rid of someone out of your memory, you know, and something always brings you back to them, right? Something that's probably not good for you,
Wanting
not
to do
good to go
something,
back to, but
maybe you shouldn't.
But you still want to.
But you
Yeah.
still
Exactly.
want to.
Couldn't
Pretty
be any
self-explanatory.
everybody's been there. Speaks for itself. Take an inch, please.
Yeah.
That one is one of my favorites on the record, to be honest. I love that it is a little bit different for us, but also like feels like us, feels modern. Yeah, and it's fun as fuck to play. I'm not gonna lie. We haven't played it live yet, but
It is fun to play.
I got a
Soon
little
enough.
drum and bass.
It's
It's
yeah, I
like
was
pretty
gonna-
techy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like even the guitar riff, like just everything about it is catchy and it's fun.
Yep.
I
Yep.
like it.
Moving on. Track 10.
Track 10.
Just a dream.
Just a Dream. That's a fun
It's
one.
a Derek Steve's original. right
Yeah, I
there.
think this came from like a voice memo of me in my living room.
Yeah.
Just on guitar, but we didn't know where the chorus should go. We didn't have a good chorus yet. So that was the task, is finding out how do we make something State Champs, but unique enough. And where that comes in, and what I think makes this song is the tight hi-hat beat chorus in this song.
100%.
No one ever closes a hi-hat for a chorus. It's almost frowned upon. It's almost against the rules.
Well, in pop punk at least.
Almost against the.
It was
yeah.
one of your arbitrary rules, wasn't it?
Yeah, starting off, I think it's boring and it doesn't add any energy to it.
But then you bring in the fat, fuzzy Weezer chords
Yeah.
on top.
Huge guitars.
You know.
When you guys showed it to us for the first time in the Dropbox, you thought I was going to hate that, but I was like, that made the song for me. That
Yeah.
part.
Yeah,
The first
and-
chorus being kind of open.
Another vulnerable song about being in your head about where you should be in life. And, you know, kind of where am I going? Have I been on the right direction? How do I find the light at the end of the tunnel? And, you know, better yourself for it. So,
But there's also commentary about expectations.
Totally.
It's,
yeah, a little bit about being in a band, a little bit about personal developing and growth, a little bit about, you know, past reflections and how do we get through it together. So that was a good one to vent on as well.
That was one of the first 4 songs that we wrote for the record. That was originally going to be on the EP.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's kind of cool to like look at like what the EP was before it turned into a full-length record.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that we did that because it felt like some of these like really great songs were gonna maybe get lost or underappreciated. for whatever reason.
Which Martin from Boys Like Girls is the reason why we changed it from an EP
Yeah, he said you guys are too good, songs are too good, get back in the studio and make more. So we did.
He said the songs would get lost if we put them out as an EP, and if we really believed in the songs that we should make a full-length record. So we literally called management after and said, all right, we need studio time.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
We'll make a record.
So glad we did.
Yeah, I'm really happy we did that.
Nice. Moving on. Track 11,
Save Face
Safe
Story.
Face Stories, the lead push single for the album. And where did it come from?
Came from a riff I wrote in Joshua Tree.
It was a Joshua Tree song.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was a
great.
Joshua Tree
It's at least
song.
a Joshua Tree idea.
Yeah, it was an idea that
Yeah.
changed into what it became.
Probably our collective favorite song.
Yeah.
That riff is unreal.
Yeah, another like staple lyrically Champ song about angst and removing toxicity, calling someone out on bullshit. Essentially, that's what the song is about. Calling someone out on just fucking phoning something, phoning a sad excuse, right?
Dude, I forgot that it was a Joshua Tree thing until you just said that, and I remember being like, this song is like, I remember we worked on it and kind of worked on a melody there too.
Yeah.
But we were like, no, this song is too good for us to like rush. Like, let's really sit down and think about like where the song needs to go, because I did not want that to be like, you know, you write a lot of songs and some of them just don't make the cut. They're just not good enough. This was one I remember being like, we gotta think about this one because we gotta get it there, and I think we got it there.
Totally, including a bridge that gets super heavy and has the only feature on the album from our friends at Slope from Germany, and so shout out to them as well.
That's right.
Yeah. Should we tell that story?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a fun
absolutely.
story.
Yeah.
You know, we tell a quick story about we're fans of Slope. Derek showed us a track randomly, a couple years ago, and so they've been on our radar. But they happen to have a show, their CD release show, on a day off while we were in Germany. So we messaged them, asked them if we could come to the show. They said yes. We came to the show, hit it off. We invited them to our show next night. They came to our show, had a great time. And so when this part came up in the studio, it just kind of felt like
Yeah, we knew
serendipitous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they fit perfect. They sent it back, and we were like, great, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, they killed it. We wanted their flavor, we wanted their funk, and it was fun to kind of have a very like out of the box feature on a record. You know,
As a big Set Your Goals fan, when I showed my friends this song without them knowing who it was, they were like, "Oh my God, is that Set Your Goals?" And I was like,
Sounds like Set Your Goals. I mean, it's got that.
It's
vibe.
not, but I'm glad that you did that because I really like
Well,
that.
the two singers and yelling back and forth, it kind of just takes you right to that space.
Of course, it's awesome.
Yeah.
but it's cool because there's not really anybody in this pop punk scene that's kind of doing anything like that specifically. You know,
Yeah.
Set Your Goals had that
Mhm.
that carved out.
they
you know
did
what I'm
that,
saying?
And not that Slope sounds like Set Your Goals at all.
They
as a
don't.
band.
No,
They
they
don't. Like
So
so.
slow vocals with our music sounds
Yeah,
like
there
Set Your
it
Goals.
creates this weird little hybrid, which
yeah,
is great.
super sick.
It's awesome. Okay, last but not least, Golden Years, last track,
Golden
track
Years.
12. Makes so much sense to end this record on that note, like with a song like this. It's very reflective, and seems to be a fan favorite so far, which is really cool. But I'm also convinced that fans just like ending tracks that are good. You know?
They say that we do it really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I do agree, but I think this might be one of my favorite ending tracks because it does mean a lot to us.
Whenever anyone reflects on their life and looking back into their past, they can go, man, those were the good old days, or those were my golden years. But not always are those actually golden years. They could be still ahead of you. And it's about that idea of where are the golden years, and what are my priorities right here and right now, moving forward, and what were they in the past. It's kind of thinking about in all aspects, whether it's relationships or friendships or us being in a band, anyone can take this song and then dive into their own space and relate to it in their own way.
I think one thing that it offers that we don't do a lot of is like big wall of sound chorus.
Mhm.
Like it's just up here the whole time.
It's
Yeah.
go, go, go. It sets a
Yeah.
level of energy
The
that,
verses
that
are so
rides
chill.
one wave, like
Yeah.
through the whole song, and let alone those choruses.
Then
Def-
we get Ryan on the bridge too.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth
Back and
vocals,
which is
forth.
cool.
I think we kind of channeled a lot of with bands like Yellow Card on this one. It's very Yellow Cardy, Sugar Cult, stuff like those type of
Yeah.
bands.
The bridge reminds me a little bit of Taking Back Sunday.
Sure. Yeah, a little bit. It's very, it's nostalgic, but fresh, which is kind of the name of the game when it comes to stage jams, isn't it?
I think a lot of people when they first listen to it kind of think that maybe it feels like a breakup song, but a breakup, like us breaking up, kind of, you know, like, oh, the golden years, putting the past.
Yeah,
on
but
the
it's not
shelf
about
and
that at
falling in love
all.
with someone else.
Because we're not going anywhere, we promise.
No, it's just we're appreciating, the next phase of our lives as well, but also.
I always thought it was a commentary on how we just have we all lead different lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
You know, it's like.
There rewind 10 years, we were all being insane
Yeah,
together.
but the idea of the tagline, putting the past up on the shelf, falling in love with someone else. It's not about putting being in a band up on the shelf. It's about anything else in your life or any idea.
I always looked at it as here's the trophy of us being in our 20s together, being ridiculous, and now we have 2 people that are married. I'm a father, whatever, and this is what we're doing now.
Yes.
And
we're
honestly,
falling in love
the
with this.
balance
Okay.
of doing those things is kind of like the new golden years. It feels
That's
awesome.
what I saw too.
You can have a little bit of everything and find balance in your life. It's ultimately about balance. I think. For me, it is. But that's the thing. You can take it and run with it however you
Yeah.
It just looks different, over the course of our lives. Whatever the golden years were, or what they were gonna be, or what they are, it just looks different, and that's cool. And it's cool to find out what is now the new. I feel like we're in the golden years. It feels like we're unified and we made a record that we're super proud of, and I'm excited to show people. And I think that energy is reflected in the songs that we made, because we are unified and we are in a new phase of our lives, but we all also understand that about each other, and that's a new exciting thing.
Yeah, that's great. Well said. Well, thanks, guys. That's a track by track breakdown of State Champs by State Champs, out now. We'll see you on tour. Great job, guys.